You're listening to the Options Insider Radio Network. For more quality options programs, visit www.theoptionsinsider.com or search for Options Insider Radio Network in your podcast provider of choice. Listeners can also access all of our programming through our mobile app, available in iTunes and on Google Play.
Welcome to the Hot Options Report, your premier source for insight into the fast-moving options market. Each day, we'll track down the products that are dominating the options chains and impacting your trading account, from Nvidia to VIX and everything in between. If it's lighting up the options tape, then you'll find it on the Hot Options Report.
All right, everybody, that music means we are back for the final trading week of 2025. Time to break down your hot options for Monday, December 29th. My name, of course, Mark Longo from theoptionsinsider.com, as well as from the network upon which all of you folks are binging these days. Of course, make sure you check out our friends over there at Quick Options. They're easy to find. It's just theHotOptionsReport.com. Nick's been on the show. He said they're not going to raise any prices till much later in January, do anything like that. So get in while it's free. Get while the getting is good, listeners. You can't beat the data, and you sure as heck can't beat the price. TheHotOptionsReport.com. Kick the tires and light the fires. As we kick the tires on this final trading week of the year, most of the markets were in the red, if ever so slightly today. Vol up ever so slightly today. Did that translate into any volume on this final Monday for 2025? The answer was no. Don't hold your breath, listeners. It's going to be a shortened trading week. Probably not a lot of volume hitting the tape out there this week, listeners. Only cost you 265,000 contracts to break into the top 10 today. That's the lightest we've seen probably since the dog days of summer. That gets us to our old pal VALE. Ticker symbol VALE. You know it's a quiet day when VALE out of Brazil makes it onto the top 10, putting up 265,000 contracts. VALE today, listeners, selling off 31 cents, closing $12.92. And the hot option in good old VALE today, 72,000. So a decent sized print of the Jan 2027. So not this coming Jan 2027, 8 puts going up for about 25 cents. If you're wondering, it looks like paper might have sold those. So an interesting line in the sand to draw over a year out. You like that, listeners? Tying up that capital for over a year. But if so, you're talking the stock quite a bit cheaper, $8, maybe 25 cents sounds good to you. So in which case, VALE might be your huckleberry as we keep climbing to number 9, the artist formerly known as Facebook. Yeah, it's Meta. 658.69 is where Meta went out today, off $4.60, or almost 0.75%, putting up 272,000 contracts for the number 9 spot, the hot option in Meta today. 19,000 of the 660s. These are expiring this Friday, January 2nd. Sounds wild to say that out loud. Average price for these, listeners, $5.25. And once again, they're not giving these away. But if you think Meta has a little turnaround for the rest of the week, then maybe you like those as we keep climbing to number 8, our old pal AMD. Going out today, $215.61, up 62 cents, or about 0.33%, putting up 276,000 contracts for the number 8 spot, listeners. And the hot option in AMD today, 14,000 of the 215 calls, so in the money calls, expiring on Friday. Average price for these, $3.29. So once again, if you think AMD has a little pop in it to end the year, perhaps you like these as we keep climbing to number 7, our old pal Amazon. Amazon wasn't climbing today, selling off 45 cents to close 232.07, putting up 282,000 contracts for the number 7 spot. And the hot option in Amazon today, 18, nearly 19,000 of the 232 half calls. Average price for these, about $1.87. Again, expiring on Friday. So once again, we have a theme here. Maybe you like a little bit of near-term upside. Maybe you prefer selling these. Either way, 232 halves taking the top spot in Amazon as we keep climbing to number 6, listeners. It's our old pal Strategy, selling off $3.43 today, closing $155. 38 off a little over 2, about 2.1%. Putting up 338,000 contracts for the number 6 spot today, listeners. And the hot option in our old pal, the monster, 16,000 of the 350 puts, the 3.5 puts. These are not expiring this week. These are actually regular old monthly Jan. That's a wild one. Average price for these, $192. Looks like we might have a 350 par, 350, 300 put spread, in which case it is a $50 put spread going up for, appropriately enough, $50. So there you go, listeners. That's what was dominating the tape out there in the monster today, going up about 16,000 times. For the number 6 spot, number 5, listeners, it's our old pal, the Fruit Company, aka Apple. Closing today, $273.76, up about 36 cents today. Putting up 370,000 contracts. For the number 5 spot, the hot option in the Fruit Company today, 29, almost 30,000 of the 275s. Average price for these, about $1.40. So once again, if you think it's going to keep climbing, you might want to buy those. Otherwise, sold to you as we keep the selling party going at number 4. It's our old pal, Palantir, selling off about $4.50, closing 184.18 today, off nearly 2.5%. Putting up 478,000 contracts for the number 4 spot and the hot option in Palantir today, listeners. 46,000 of the 195s. Interesting. Average price for these, 35 cents. These are expiring at the end of the week. Looks like paper overwrote the heck out of these. So if you want to pocket 35 cents, maybe you like this trade. It's got to sweat a little bit through the end of the week in Palantir as we keep sweating on up to the number 3 spot. You know it's a quiet week, listeners, when British American Tobacco PLC, aka BTI, a name that I don't think we've ever talked about before on the network, let alone in the top 10, listeners, is making it at number 3. BTI today, listeners, off 26 cents, closing $57, pretty much exactly. Putting up 609,000 contracts for the number 3 spot. If you're asking, how does such a sleepy name put up 609,000 contracts? Well, it's going XDiv. Remember, we said this before, listeners. XDiv tends to gum up the options works, and that is what's happening in BTI. It's doing nearly 200 times its average daily volume right now. So I wouldn't read into too much of the big trades, including the number 1 spot, 184,000 of the Jan 50s. Again, in the money calls, the signature telltale sign of a div play, listeners. As we keep rolling up to number 2, it's our old pal Nvidia. Nvidia closing 188.22, off 2.3, or about almost 1.25%. Putting up 1.63 million contracts. So that's a pretty light day. That's roughly half what we've come to expect from Nvidia these days. And again, shortened holiday week, listeners. The hot option in Nvidia, such as it was today, 136,000 of the 190 calls expiring this week. Average price for these, $1.38. So once again, near term out of the money calls dominate in the tape. Is that the case for our number 1 spot? You know what it is. It's Tesla, listeners. Tesla giving up the ghost on this shortened holiday week. Selling off $15.55, or about 3.25%, closing $459.64 today, putting up 1.77 million contracts. For the top spot today, the hot option in Tesla land, nearly 67,000 of the 465 puts. So, wow, puts dominating the tape in Tesla today. That is interesting. A sign, perhaps, of the warm turning. We shall see. The average price for these, listeners, $8.42, which you know the deal. They went out worth more than $5 just in intrinsic value, listeners. So, looks like a decent price. Do you like those? Would you be a buyer, or we want to step in front of the fire and say sold to you? Either way, that is your hot option in Tesla today, and that is going to do it for your hot options report today. Remember, if you want to check these trades or anything else we didn't have a chance to talk about, and that is a ton on the show here, listeners, the place to do it, thehotoptionsreport.com is the place to go to kick the tires and light the fires. See you back here tomorrow to wrap up another trading day with another episode of the Hot Options Report. Stay safe out there, everybody.
You're listening to the Options Insider Radio Network. For more quality options programs, visit www.theoptionsinsider.com or search for Options Insider Radio Network in your podcast provider of choice. Listeners can also access all of our programming through our mobile app, available in iTunes and on Google Play.